Now this is what you call a mess. 2009 Toyota Corolla with the 4-cylinder automatic transmission. My wife, I bought this car for my wife. Replaced the engine in it. Had a bad engine, but ever since I replaced it, the rear main seal has leaked, and I replaced it with a low mileage engine. But I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the rear main seal. I should have. I don't know if it got bumped, got knocked out of place. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's had a leak ever since, and that's been about a year and a half ago. But it was just she drive it to work and back, and I could monitor the leak in the driveway, and it was always 2 or 3 drops overnight, no problem. Well, it got a little worse, and I had been planning to fix said leak. Anyway, I bought the wife another go-to-work car, the silver Accord out there. So we're going to sell this one. My sister wants to buy it for the same reasons we were using it. Take an old beater like this and put the miles on it. Toyotas and Hondas, man, they go forever. They don't look the best. The hood's got a little cancer on it, and top does too. But anyway, we're saving the good car. So I can't let my sister have it without fixing the oil leak. There's a couple other little things on the car need fixing. I'm gonna paint the hood for her, and I am not a painter, so hang on for that. That should be interesting. So this oil leak, I know, I feel quite certain it's the rear main seal. It's the only place it could be leaking back there. Everything I read said it's easiest just to pull the transmission to do that. Well, I've pulled the engine out of the car, but I've never pulled the transmission out. If I had it to do over, I would definitely pull the engine instead of the transmission. And here's why. Your transmission has 3 mounts. Your engine has 1 mount. Your engine can come out of the car. The transmission don't have to be jacked up or anything, because those 3 mounts are holding it firmly in place. The engine only has a mount there. This end over here, it's just attached to the bell housing of the transmission. Now, there's a lot of other things you got to disconnect from this engine in order to get it out. But here's my struggle taking the 3 mounts, and we'll get to that in a minute. That's a adventure in itself. Taking those 3 mounts loose from the transmission. I did have a little jack underneath the transmission, but I don't have a transmission jack, so it's wobbly. So couldn't sleep last night. I had this thing going round and round in my mind, so I thought about, I can support it from up top. I got a chain wrapped around the transmission, and this is just in case things go wrong. The transmission doesn't fall over in the floor, and the torque converter come off, and fluid just start going everywhere. Then I thought, this engine is on 1 motor mount and another little jack underneath the oil pan, so it's kind of wobbly. It wants to lean towards the back, given that it's kind of slanted that way. So, and none of this stuff is like extremely heavy. Now it's heavy enough that we got to have engine hoists and jacks and stuff, but this is a little 2-inch strap, not the little 1-inch ones that you get at Walmart. This is the 2-inch one. This is the beefier one. I've got it run back here, and there's a bracket that runs over to, I think, the exhaust pipe or whatever. It's bolted to the engine, so I've got this hooked on that bracket, and I've just got a knot tied in it here, and I put some tension on it, and the block, when I took some of these transmission mounts loose, this block kind of leaned over a couple of inches last night. So I brought it back a couple inches. Great. the transmission mounts, there's one in the front here, not bad, you can get to it. There's one here, not bad, you can get to it. There's one in the back. I got it loose, but I can't get the actual mount out because, I don't know, dude, it's pinched in there. So I'm gonna try to get everything else to where the transmission will come out. I done said it so many times I can't even say transmission anymore, but I'm gonna try to get the transmission to where it will now slide out, and it's almost there. I mean, it's pretty much there. I'm gonna take this mount completely off. You got to take the bolt out, you got to take the brackets off and everything, otherwise you can't slide it that way. The things we do for our sisters. It's all right, Suzanne. I'm not gonna put you in something that's undependable, because with a leaky rear main seal, you never know. There were mistakes made, a lot of them. So what I didn't want happened. The torque converter, which is that round disc looking thing inside the transmission there, slipped off. Nasty transmission fluid began to flow. I panicked, but it's out. I've mopped up the spill with some paper towels. Once we get done with the project and back the car out, we'll have to address the residue. Anyway, I got the new rear main seal in. You take those 8 bolts off, that flex plate comes off, and the seal is in there. Now, my memory kind of came back to me once I got this seal out. This is basically a new seal. I put this seal in a year and a half ago, and I just noticed I wasn't sure what the brand name was, but Mahle, M-A-H-L-E, that's a good brand name. It wasn't leaking around the actual sealing part where the crankshaft is. It was leaking around this edge right here. Have no idea why. Now you see this little defect right here. That's where I just pried this out, so ignore that. But around the edge, I see no problem. Mahle is a very good name brand. I expected, once I realized, hey, I put that seal in, I thought maybe I drove it in too far and it's rubbed the lip and it's causing it to leak. But no, this is a completely undamaged seal from installation or wear, but it was leaking around the edge right here, so I don't know. Anyway, I put a Fel-Pro in because, well, that's what they had. Now, I also put some RTV silicone around the edge of it, some of that ultra black. I just put a very thin film around the outside of it when I tapped that in, so I don't know why it was leaking, but it was. Anyway, now I'm at the stage to where I'm gonna try to get that jack up under that transmission, and then I'm gonna try to ease it under there and start trying to relocate the transmission in a way we can get this booger back in there. And I can tell you it's not gonna be easy. That chain hoist really, it may have kept the transmission from this dropping and hitting the concrete, but because it would have slipped off the jack anyway. Other than that, it didn't really do me no favor. So I'm gonna try it sans the engine hoist. So yeah, let's see what we can do. I also want to point out one other thing. Your CV axles attached to your transmission, here in the back of the transmission. One on this side, one on the other side. So naturally, I bought the new seals to seal that off, because I also had to buy new CV axles. At a sharp turn, one of them started to click, and with the mileage that the car's got on it, I went ahead and got some of those from Napa. One of the seals they sold me was correct, the other one is not. However, it wasn't damaged when I took it off. It actually came out really easy. So I'm going to have to reuse the old seal. I know. I'm sorry. If in the future it starts to leak, that's not near as big a problem. You're trying to do a rear main. Getting that axle out to replace that seal, you can do that on a Saturday morning. It's not that big a deal. You just have to make sure you get the right seal. Anyway, all right, here we go. Well, all I gotta say is never underestimate the power of a prayer. Struggled with this thing all morning. Had the engine, part of it was held up by a jack, the other part by that hoist right there. Transmission had fell out, torque converter had fell out of it, spilled fluid all over the place. I was in a mess and I didn't feel good about it. So the wife said, hey, let's go eat some lunch. And I said, well, you sure? I'm about ready for a break anyway. So she was going to go to town, and I told her, I said, look, say a prayer for your husband. And she kind of chuckled. She said, is it that bad? And I said, yeah, because, you have to know Andy to understand, but I was getting in a dark place, and we do that sometimes in life, whether it be junk like this that really doesn't matter, other than the fact that my sister was, I gave her my word, and I was bent on holding true to that. But stuff gets you down in life. Try to keep the big picture in mind. We have not because we asked not. I knew I needed help. I had already asked God to help me, but He wants us together. He wants us as a corporate body. So I went to my wife and I said, say a prayer for me. And literally, this couldn't have went any better. The transmission, I lifted it up and it went right into place. That motor mount in the back that gave me such heartache, it fell right in there. I don't know if you can see it. It's in there right now. It's sitting there. It's right in place. I got to tighten some bolts, and then I got to put all this mess back that come off of here. But that's just putting parts back and putting the bolts in it. The difficult stuff is over. I do have to put the axles in, but there's nothing really difficult about that. I knew that this was going to be difficult, but thank God for answered prayers. All right. So, transmission is back in. Going to tighten up bell housing bolts. I got a couple motor mounts I'm working on, transmission mounts, working on getting back in. Those are simple. That was a difficult one. It put itself in. All right, so I got to do a few more things and work on buttoning this up, and then I'm gonna move on to, just a couple of other things that I'm doing for the car. The grab handles inside the car, 2 are missing. This one right here just hangs down. I hit my head on that every time I get in the car. That dash panel, the shiny one right there, underneath that shiny part, it's busted, and somebody did the right thing. They went and got a cover for it, but it's a shiny cover, and when the sun is hitting it just right, Man, it'll blind you. So have an eBay replacement for that. So let me get this wrapped up. Gonna do a transmission filter and fluid change, and then we'll do some fun stuff. Well, it decided to rain today. That's all right though. This thing is flying back together, and I kid you not. Um, Engine hoist, jacks out of the way. I mean, it's still on jack stands, but all that mess that was holding stuff up is out of the way. I'm putting it back together about as fast as my little hands will go. There was just an awful lot of parts, pieces, and tidbits, remembering where all the screws went. But anyway, she's going back together pretty good. Not too much longer. I'm gonna put the axles in. Get all this stuff buttoned up, get the wheels put on. I did buy a transmission filter. I'm gonna change the fluid and filter. Of course, most of the fluid's out of it anyway. What we didn't spill on the concrete, I had drained out before we started. So yeah, I'm having a way better time putting it back together than I did taking it apart. Anywho, just gonna listen to it rain and put this thing back together. Angela's going to town and got her picking me up some kitty litter for helping to soak up some, which the oil spill is, it don't stain like oil, the transmission fluid, but anyway, still need a little kitty litter. It's alive. Of course, there was never any doubt that it wouldn't start back, but let's see how much fluid is pouring from the bottom. Get down here on both knees. I don't like anything. That's a paint cap. I was trying to put some kitty litter that I use for oil dry. I was trying to put some of that out last night, and I was throwing a couple of scoops of kitty litter, and I accidentally threw the cup. So I got to get that out, but no drips. But I haven't driven it down the road yet. That's next. Well, I'm back from the road test. Pulled it up on a nice clean piece of cardboard. So far, no leaks. I got to add a little more fluid to the transmission. About a quart and a half low. I had bought a gallon, but didn't realize I was going to be dumping the torque converter out on the floor. But anyway, it's all good. So I'm going to try to take this off. This piece right here, that's one piece, and this trim pieces come down to here. There's one on each side, and I've never took these off. I'm assuming they come out towards this way. I'm not sure if they go out that way, but I'll do my best not to break them. So I might have to put you down while I do that, but I'll get you back. All right, so they do come straight out. It's got two little orange clips, and then these didn't have anything on them, but the two on the ends had the little orange thingy. So, yep, pop it straight out, and mine is broke. The original is all busted up. Not sure what happened there. Somebody probably got mad. I pounded it. I've wanted to do that once or twice, but never actually have. But let me get the other side off, and probably just not sure exactly. I don't think there's screws holding this in. I see screws here. That's probably for the radio. I don't think this thing has any screws. Let me get the other side of the trim off, and I think this thing may just pop out or up. I'm thinking out. Mistakes were made. I wonder if I could glue that. She would probably never notice. Anyway, So yeah, mine was all broke up, but everything pulls straight out. Now this piece of trim did not want to come off of this side here for whatever reason, but yeah, this one's all gone. So anyway, so I got the trim off, and yeah, I'll have to I will need to, first of all, not lose the part I broke. See if I can't glue that back on. All right, let me get the new one and see if we can't pop it in there and see what it looks like. That's gonna look much more better. Note, you will need to take out your hazard light switch. It's pretty easy. You mash that little gray tab and a little gray tab back there, and pops out of your old one, pop it into your new one. And so the color comes really close to matching the original. Kind of pleasantly surprised by that. But yeah, it very closely matches the original. So I'm going to put this piece of trim on. This one will have to come after the glue dries. Sorry, Suzanne. Well, I must say that looks way much better. Very nice. Coming soon. The pull handles, there's two missing in the car, and one of them doesn't spring back anymore. It just kind of hangs there, and every time I get out of this car, my head grabs hold of that. So I did what most red-blooded Americans would do. I got on eBay, bought me a couple of Spicy Egg Roll brand handles. But now you have to remember, the car itself came from Spicy Egg Roll land. So you get four. You get two like this without a clothes hanger hook. You get two like this with a clothes hanger hook. Keep in mind, the ones with the clothes hanger hook are for the back seat. You're not going to be wanting to hang your wardrobe on the passenger door and not be able to see out of the car. So these just basically pop in. Now this one right here that was missing, the little metal clips were still in there. So you just get a pair of pliers and you persuade them to come out. And remember which way you're going. Don't install them upside down. You want them up like this to where when you pull them down, they'll close back. So this is how we're going to pop this one in, and I can't do it with one hand. I'm about to put the phone down, but I will point out these are gray. The originals are not gray. The originals are tan like this, but I forget what I paid for them. It's not much. I'll put a link in the description in case you want some for your Toyota. They're pretty cheap and they work. And when you got a budget automobile, they're perfect. Just a word of caution, when you're buying from eBay, I got one with no coat hanger hook. My other three have the hook. So one of them is going to end up going in the front, although it's not supposed to, but that's all I got. So also, after trying to push these things in the hole, they wouldn't go. These caps, get one I haven't taken off yet. This cap right here, you have to take this cap off because whatever this hangy thing is right here, you're not going to be able to push these in with that sticking out, and it is attached to this cap. So I took the caps off this one, and as you can see, the little metal thingy moves. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put these up there, and I'm going to have to stick a screwdriver in there to push that metal clip in place. And I only have two hands, so I'm going to have to, you put it up there, and I'm going to stick a screwdriver in there and push that clip into place, and see if that works. So once you figure out what you're doing, it's not hard at all, because they don't come with instructions. So I put it up here, I run my screwdriver in there and pushed on the back of that clip. It pops in. Do the same thing to this side, and now I'm going to put, or I'm going to try to, well, I've only got two hands, so bear with me. Let's see. I think, all right, so you got the little sticky out thingy. I'm not sure exactly how. Maybe you just push it. All right, yeah, you just push it in there. Push it in there, and I'm going to do the other one. All right, pop the caps back on. Hey, it works. Better than the other one. All right, I got two more items left on the list that I told my sister I would do for the car. I would put hubcaps on it, which I kind of like the ghetto look myself, you know, with just the black steel wheels. But, all right, 15-inch wheels. I need some 15-inch Walmart brand $25 set of hubcaps, I think. So the hood, yeah, it's like the worst part of the car. The top of the car, the clear coat is pretty much gone on it, but the hood, I mean, you can see this thing coming from a mile away. It looks like you just went through a snowbank, you know, when you see it coming down the road. So I am going to sand, and I am going to paint this hood. Now, full disclaimer, I have not ever been known as a really good automotive paint guy, or really any kind of guy. But I bought the little 3-part can set of a primer, a top coat, or a primer, top coat, and a finish coat, or primer, finish coat. Anyway, the three things: primer, color, and clear coat. So I'm gonna take this hood off, and I'm gonna take it probably inside my shop building there, to where, I mean, I don't want bugs getting stuck in it when I get finished. So probably what I'll do is take the hood off, take it inside my shop where it can be semi-protected against blowing leaves, bugs, just whatever might happen to drift through here and stick to it. All right, step 1, get the hood off. Step 2, sand it. All right, I kind of jumped ahead of you guys a little bit. I took the hood off the car, and I got my palm sander, and I sanded it with a 180 grit sandpaper, because the front of it here was really rough. Well, the whole thing was really rough, but most of the paint was gone from here. It was bare metal on the edge, a little primer, and then a little finish paint, and it was rough. The whole hood was rough, and so I needed something aggressive. So the 180 was good. Burned up 2 palm sanders, by the way, sanding on this thing. One was an old one that I've had forever. It was probably ready to die. Bought another one from the local hardware store. It lasted 15 minutes and died. So I did the right thing, and I went to Walmart and bought another one. It actually is a pretty good sander. So I got that smooth, and you have to degrease after you do that. You have to get all the grease, any waxes, oils, uh, oil from your skin. So you degrease the hood, and they make special stuff for doing that or whatever. I just use brake clean. Now some clean towels, and I kept changing the towels until you're wiping it down till you get no more residue on your towel. Then I got the 3-set paint kit, and I'll show that to you now. So this is a 3-can set. I believe I got this off of eBay. Pretty sure Spectral Paints is the brand, and you get the primer, the base coat, and clear coat. Now this is great if you're just doing like one panel, like I'm doing. I'm just doing the hood. If you're gonna do the whole car, you can't do it with spray paint. I mean, you could. I wouldn't. So anyway, if you're just doing one panel like I'm doing, I forget what this 3-can set on eBay cost. I don't know. It may have been $35, $45. I'll have to go look. I will put a link in the description for this set of paints. It matches the factory color for your base coat. You know, the primer and the clear coat is just, it's all the same. But this is the light gray primer. This is the base coat, and then when we get done, we'll do the clear coat. So right now we're wet sanding. Once you do the primer, it's a little rough. Any of the spots on the hood that we didn't sand very well, those will be very evident, and those will stick out. So you'll need to sand the primer at least 30 minutes. You have to wait 30 minutes after spraying this primer to sand it. I waited about probably an hour, and I started wet sanding. And it says to use 600 grit paper, but 400 is fine, and 400 is what I had. So let's get your water hose, wet it down. This is my 400 grit paper, and I had a sanding block, but the block was 180 grit. So I just wrap my paper around that. Get it wet. You sand in a circle all over it, and your residue will start to kick up. It's already really smooth. Residue will start to accumulate and turn dark, and you just get your hose and spray it off. So when I'm done, I will spray the residue off. I'll dry it with a lint-free rag, and then once I make sure it's dry, then I'm gonna start the base coat. All right, we had to move the party inside. Tip: if you're gonna do a hood or a large panel like this, you're gonna need to order 2 kits, because I ran out of the base coat, and well, I had to order some more. So you'll have plenty of primer, you'll have plenty of clear coat. You will run out of the base coat if you only have 1 kit. On this particular color, O'Reilly's had the base coat. I still had to order it, but I got it painted, I got it clear coated. Now this hood has damage right here, and I can't get to that dent because it's, your hood, it's a double layer. You got an outside skin and inside skin. I can't get to this, and I am not a body guy, so that's just going to have to be the character for it. The horrid missing paint and everything else that was on the front of the hood, which was an eyesore, that is gone. And for A rattle can paint job is pretty nice. I have to say so myself. Um, Anywho, what I did when I moved it inside, I had one light coat of the base coat on it. And I should say before I moved it inside. I knew I was out of paint. I had it behind the shop out here, and there'd been a couple little flying insects that got stuck in it. So I took that opportunity, and you don't usually sand your base coat. Now, I am no expert, but I do have access to Google. So, knowing that I was going to have to put a couple more coats on it today, once my base coat dried, I went ahead with my 400 grit and wet sanded that base coat. Brought it inside, and today when my paint came in, I put uh, another couple coats of the base coat. Give that 30 minutes to dry, and then you apply your clear coat. And it turned out really well as far as what it is. I mean, it's just for a beater to go back and forth to work in for my sister. So, but you know, it turned out pretty doggone good. I have to say. I mean, anywho, I definitely don't want to go into the paint business. And I always wear a respirator when you're spraying this stuff because those fumes are pretty potent. All right, so what I'm going to do is I've only got a couple days before I have to deliver the car, and that clear coat needs to cure for at least 24 hours. So about this time tomorrow, we're gonna put the hood on the car, and then I got a set of hubcaps. She wanted hubcaps, so I got a set of hubcaps to put on the car. Um, and that'll be that. That'll be the end of it. I did have to put 2 more quarts of transmission fluid in it after the test drive. I checked it. It's still just a little bit low. So I'll put 2 quarts. That should bring it up. Now the top of the car, yeah, it needs sanding and painting too, but it's a slippery slope. You know, once you start that, well, this could use paint. Well, that could use paint, and I ain't that guy. So, all right. See you tomorrow. Well, here's the finished product on the car. Does it match exactly? Nope. You'll never get it to match exactly. Hubcaps help. Hood looks better. That doesn't look any better. But if you let the light hit the hood just right, really needs to be wet sanded. Get that orange peel effect out of the clear coat, smooth it up, shine it up. But like I said, it's better. You know, from about 4 or 5 blocks away, it looks great. All right, hope she's happy with it. Did the best we could with it. Still a neat little car. It's just cheap transportation. Can't beat a Toyota. All right, I know this video wasn't much. I just wanted to include y'all and what I was messing with. Uh, y'all wish my sister Suzanne good luck with it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't. Have a good day, and always remember, be kind to one another.